I am like a goat. I faint a lot. But that's really just code for that I have a incurable heart arrhythmia. That being said, I remember the day that I decided I was not going to die. And I hate to disappoint you, but I have not yet figured out how to become a Marvel superhero. I'm still working on that, but what this actually means is that I have a substantially increased risk of dying in the next 10 minutes that I am up here. Before you panic and wonder if there's a doctor in the house, or where the AED is, or what song you should do compressions to, I have a lovely cardiologist. I take my medications religiously, and the songs are your choice of Staying Alive, Another One Beats the Dust, or WAP. That being said, I still know that day that I decided I was not going to die. I was 29, 4 months away from turning 30. I was in the Norton and Women's and Children's ICU. The day before, I had been found unresponsive on my bathroom floor. I was taken to the ER, where I was subsequently coded for 10 minutes. My heart was shocked back into normal rhythm, and I was admitted. And at this point, I had been having these weird symptoms for 29 years and 8 months. And no one could figure out why. And so I decided, and I knew I just had to die. My friend Stephanie was a chaplain there at the time, and when I told her this, she said, Michelle, sometimes when we feel like we have to die, it means something in our life needs to die instead. Those were the very words that gave me hope. At this time, I was a hospital chaplain. I had just finished chaplain residency, and I was loving it. It is one of the most sacred, most fulfilling careers, okay? You are in a space of vulnerability 24/7. And one of the most precious moments that you get to experience is when you are escorting a family and a patient through death. You watch them create this crystal globe of grief. It glows and it's warm. It's filled with tears, sorrow, pain, grief, warmth, memories, joy. And you get to help pass that to the family. And me, as a chaplain, I got to be a keeper of stories, amazing stories. I got to meet someone who was once a stripper in New York and came down to Kentucky to be a housewife. I mean, that is such a story, right? And then there I was in an ICU bed. And I had a whole ass story of my own. I mean, yes. But I had those words. Sometimes in life, when we feel like we need to die, something in our life needs to die instead. So there I am, clutching my discharge diagnosis of anxiety. Yay, being a woman who needs health care, right? And I was done. I had these horrible symptoms. Sometimes I was not able to eat. I was not able to keep down food. It felt like my heart was beating out of my chest, and the sense of doom that everything was going to end at any moment. It just kept getting worse and worse until I'm on my knees in my bedroom, begging God, please just make it stop, like something. I mean, send Liam Neeson to come find the illness, threaten the illness, and cure it, right? You know, when you're a healthcare worker, you think when illness comes to you, you're going to conquer it. You're going to make that thing your bitch, right? Yeah. You think that Liam Neeson is actually going to come save you? And then it turns out to be a Middle Eastern cardiologist who is saying words like rare, hard to treat, deadly, and he's listening to you. For the first time, I had a doctor listening to me and telling me, this is what is going to kill you. I don't know when it's going to kill you, but it's going to kill you. Having a deadly heart arrhythmia that's eventually going to wear out your heart is a buzzkill. But there I am, late 2019, early 2020, figuring out incredibly difficult life questions. How many rounds of compressions do you want when you code? What medications do you want to have pressors? You need at least 3 emergency contacts. 1 should be here in Louisville. We need your parents. Do you want to have children? Because if you do, that's going to kill you. Oh, and do you want your mom to be your power of attorney when one of her children have already died? Again, I thought I was going to be able to conquer this, and that's just not what happened. And I was going through lifestyle changes, different medications, getting healthy. The symptoms were finally relaxing, and then it was around March 15th, 2020. Those who remember that day, that's the day that Kentucky shut down. I had a cardiologist appointment that morning, and my cardiologist comes in, and he goes, Andy Bashir is going to close down the state later today. You're going to get an email from U of L Health, where I worked at the time, with procedures. Okay, cool. I get the email. This is going to be 2 or 3 years. There's a pandemic looming, and it's taking no prisoners, and we don't really know how to treat this. People are going to die. It's the immediacy of my death and the reality of death in my professional life intersecting, like, fuck. How do I even, I lost count of the amount of deaths I attended to by August of 2020. And they were incredibly isolating deaths. There were the deaths where no one was calling. No one was even out on the sidewalks of the hospital praying, knowing where the window of their loved one was. And those scared me. But then there was a death that gave me knowledge about what actually needed to die in my life. And that was a death that happened around 1:34 in the morning. I got paged into the hospital. We knew the family was going to be incredibly emotional. And when I say that the nurses and the doctors worked so hard to keep that person alive for an additional hour, I mean, y'all, the nurses and doctors of this pandemic, damn. And the family, they come in, and I'm standing there, and I'm ready with the masks because I know that they are going to be emotional. And when I say I literally had to leap onto this wife's back to get the mask on her to protect her, I don't mean that figuratively. They needed to be bedside. At this point in the pandemic, that was We had gotten to this point where that was okay, and so I'm there, and I'm struggling to get this person in a mass so that they can be bedside, because this person, they're dead, okay? They're dead, and we are just keeping the heartbeat so they can say goodbye. The sequence of thoughts after that was, I don't want a lonely death. My symptoms were not dying because they became everything about me. I was hiding so much of myself and so much of my disability, and y'all, I ain't normal. I am deaf. I have ADHD, and when I say I have ADHD, I got my festival pass this morning at 10 a.m. I lost it by 4 o'clock. And I have a heart arrhythmia that is trying its darndest to kill me. I don't want that lonely death. I mean, it's gonna happen. I'm looking it straight in the face right now. I'm feeling my heartbeat. I want a death where I can pass off a crystal globe to my friends, to my family. I want you all to remember the forgetfulness. I want you all to remember how late I am to things all the time. I want you all to remember about how many times I say what and what I think I hear. To my friends and family, I hope that when I go on to whatever is beyond this place, that you get to hold a crystal globe full of joy and laughter and this shared human experience together. Thank you.